Understanding the resource monitor is very, very important because now you can see a lot more troubleshooting and you can see the health and some performance issues that may be occurring on your Synology NAS. But sometimes you need to get a little bit more detailed. What if there's a connection problem? What if there's an issue getting to some certain service that may not be visible on the resource monitor? So you need to go into the logs of your Synology NAS to see exactly what is going on. So what you can do on your Synology NAS is logging in right here as an admin. On the top left menu, you've got an area here called Log Center. We're going to select Log Center, and in here, it's going to say Advanced Functions. Firstly, it's recommended that you go to Package Center and install the Log Center package to get the advanced features, including sending and receiving logs from other network devices, as well as archiving logs. So we're going to go and do that. So we're going to close out of this, and we're going to it's recommending it to us, so we're going to go and do it. Under Package Center, we're going to type into here log, and we're going to install Log Center because we want to know a lot more about what's going on our Synology NAS. And if you are a Synology NAS administrator, then having access to logs, learning how to interpret the logs, and having a lot of information available to you via logs is really, really important. So now that that's installed, let's just go back into here and now click on Log Center. So now we've got a lot more information. We can now tick this because we've already got it installed and okay. Here, you can now go and see information about your Synology NAS in log form. All right. So the last 50 logs, here's everything that's been going on. So this is great if you're somebody who needs to understand exactly what has been going on your Synology NAS. So let's just make this bigger so you can see exactly logs of what has been going on. All right. So straight away, you can see exactly the host name. So in my case, it's just the one host name, but what user triggered what specific function. It may take a little bit of time to understand exactly this information, but you can see exactly what sort of changes, warnings, information. You see that the levels have been occurring on your Synology NAS. So you need to know something has been going wrong, or there's been some information taken that maybe shouldn't have been taken, or there's some underlying issue logging in or something, permissions problems. You can go into here and diagnose and troubleshoot what is going on. In most cases, it'll tell you that it's triggered by a specific user on an IP address over a specific protocol, and that's what happened. Okay, so here is the admin user. They logged in successfully via the DSM, and it was at that time. Okay, there it is, another login attempt at that time. So you can see a lot of information in here, and this is the last 50 logs. So this is really, really helpful and really, really important to know. Then we can go into the logs area right here, and you can see even more information. Now this is essentially every single log that I've got currently been stored on here. You'll see that there are 406 items. You've got a little info, I for info. There are 10 warnings, and then there are 4 errors. Very similar to the overview, I can see exactly what is going on, the timestamp, who did it, and what the actual event was. And as you scroll through, you can see exactly what's going on here. So there's a warning, for example. System booted up from an improper shutdown. So there are a few little warnings that have been made available to me. If you do want to diagnose this further, you don't have to do this from the Synology NAS. You can actually export the logs as well over a HTML or a CSV file, and you can open up in something like Excel, okay? But you can see exactly what is going on and when certain things happened. Let's look at notifications. Notifications will be sent to the administrator when any of the following criteria are met. So here's something that's really good is you can actually set this to send notifications automatically. So number of logs per second, well, let's say 10. Sure, let's go 10 a second. Severity is, all right, so you've got emergency, critical alert, emergency, error, critical alert, emergency. So you want to be notified of a specific condition that's been met. You can set it so that it sends 10 every second to the severity of only emergency. So something that is super, super critical, we now need to know about it. Archive settings. So do you want archived of your logs? You'll see that if I go back into the logs area, current has got all of this. Archived is currently empty. So you can actually set your destination for your logs, for your archives. You can export them to a specific location, which is really, really helpful. You can also set up some archive rules. So archive the current logs database when the following event occurs. So when the database size exceeds 1 gig, then do this, right? Or when it's number of logs, this, log time older than this. You can set up some other options in here. You can compress log archives, etc. But then once it's set, you can apply, and then those logs will be archived for you. Log sending and receiving. Well, log sending, if you've got this thing called the syslog server, essentially a dedicated service for managing, monitoring all of your logs. So this syslog server could be used for your Synology NAS, but a lot of other services, servers, for example, applications that talk to a syslog server. And then this is a server essentially dedicated for managing, controlling, reading all of the logs. Okay, so that's actually a really, really nice feature. And then there's some settings history, which at the moment is currently blank. Okay, so that's a little bit about logs. Definitely would recommend you looking through here a lot more. Now, the logs area is something that you may not actually go into very often. You're only going to go into here really if you need to see how things are performing, right? But you may actually be in an organization that requires regular log reviews to make sure that everything is running healthy all the time. From a security perspective, you want to make sure that there's no strange behavior, apps, services, users accessing things that they shouldn't. All of that could be tracked and logged on your Synology NAS, exported to a syslog server, archived for long term. So in the future, you need to get audited, you need some information, you can actually retrieve all of that. But logs are really, really helpful because you can diagnose and troubleshoot a lot more about what is going on your Synology NAS.